At the age of 12, my life changed dramatically when my family moved from Kenya to Canada. This transition opened up a vibrant new world filled with exciting opportunities, diverse cultures, and welcoming people. My father's success as a businessman ensured we enjoyed a comfortable lifestyle, making it easier to adapt to our new surroundings. During high school, I met Russell, the person who would later become my husband. Our relationship had its share of ups and downs over the years, but by the time I turned 22, we decided to take the leap and get married. I was ecstatic, envisioning a future filled with love and happiness. However, one significant hurdle lay ahead: Russell's mother, Doris, who was openly opposed to our marriage plans. I couldn't shake the feeling that her objections were partly rooted in my Kenyan heritage. Doris often made subtle, unsettling comments that left me feeling unwelcome. In contrast, Russell remained unfazed by the tension. He cherished our relationship and valued me for who I was rather than my background. Despite his mother's disapproval, he consistently affirmed his commitment to us. Our wedding day was emotionally complex. While I was thrilled to marry Russell, the shadow of Doris's disapproval loomed over us. Determined to focus on our love, I tried to ignore the negativity. In the days that followed, Doris's disdain became more pronounced. She frequently made disparaging remarks about my culture, which was painful. Despite my desire for a harmonious relationship with her, it seemed increasingly unattainable. Russell attempted to bridge the gap between us, promising to address the issues with his mother. Torn between his love for both Doris and me, he did his best to mediate, but the atmosphere remained tense. Doris's continuous jabs and intrusive questions about my background were disheartening and began to take a toll on my mental health. Despite these challenges, Russell and I focused on building our life together, moving into our own place, and pursuing our careers. However, Doris's persistent disapproval cast a shadow over our happiness, leading to a point where her remarks became unbearable. I had always prided myself on staying calm and treating everyone with kindness, but eventually Doris's hurtful comments pushed me too far. In a moment of frustration, I raised my voice for the first time. "Doris, I've truly had enough of your incessant comments. They're tiresome." "Oh, I'm just expressing my opinions. There's no need for you to be so defensive," she replied. "It feels like you're relentlessly targeting me because of my background. I deserve the same respect as anyone else. I'm not trying to offend, but you seem overly sensitive about everything." "This isn't about sensitivity, it's about respect. I am your daughter-in-law and should be treated with kindness and understanding. Perhaps if you tried to fit in a bit more, I wouldn't need to make these remarks." "Fit in? I've been part of this community for years. This is my home, too. I shouldn't have to alter who I am just to appease you. And just so you know, I never sought your permission to marry your son, nor did I wish for it. I know you had different plans for him." "That's unfair. We love each other, and that should matter to you. If only you were from a more traditional background, perhaps I'd be more accepting." "I don't need your acceptance. I take immense pride in my heritage and refuse to let you belittle me for it. Your prejudice is your burden to bear." "Well, maybe things would have been simpler if you'd married someone from your own culture." "That's irrelevant. We are married, and you need to accept that. Your ongoing disapproval is causing us pain, and I won't allow you to dampen our happiness." "I never expected you to speak to me like this. Why are you being so aggressive?" "Perhaps you never anticipated that I would stand up for myself. I'm done trying to please you. If this is how you feel, it might be best for us to keep our distance." "That suits me just fine," she replied. "I deserve to be surrounded by people who respect and appreciate me for who I am." "You're being unreasonable." "No, I'm simply tired of being mistreated. I'm part of your family now, whether you like it or not, and it's time you start treating me that way. If you can't manage that, then maybe it's better for us to maintain some space." "Suit yourself," she said coldly. "I will, and I hope you take some time to reflect on how your actions affect your relationship with your son," I retorted, deciding it was time to leave. "Perhaps when you're ready to treat me with the respect I deserve, we can talk again. Until then, take care." I left the room, feeling a tumultuous mix of anger and sadness. Confronting Doris had been difficult, but standing up for myself was necessary. From that moment, I knew our relationship might be irreparably damaged. Yet I felt confident in my decision. I deserved respect and would no longer tolerate subtle jabs or hurtful comments. My focus had to remain on my marriage and building the joyful life with Russell, regardless of Doris's disapproval. When I shared the details of our confrontation with Russell, he surprised me with his unwavering support. He even told his mother that she needed to treat me with respect. However, the situation escalated dramatically when Doris threatened to disown him, shocking both of us. I could see the pain in Russell's eyes. His mother's willingness to cut him off for defending his wife was heartbreaking. Yet this difficult situation helped us realize something crucial. We didn't need toxic people in our lives, even if they were family. We deserve love and respect, and if someone couldn't provide that, they didn't deserve a place in our lives. As hard as it was to witness Doris's behavior, it served as a wake-up call for Russell. He began to understand that his mother's negativity and disapproval were holding him back from true happiness. It was time for him to move beyond the toxicity and build a life with me based on love and mutual understanding. Months passed since Doris cut ties with us. Although Russell was deeply affected by his mother's decision, he still missed her despite everything she had said and done. I went to support him in finding closure, hoping to pave the way for potential reconciliation. I planned a dinner date at Russell's favorite restaurant, hoping it would bring him some comfort and perhaps signal a new beginning for us. When we arrived and I gave my name, the host looked puzzled and informed me that my name was on the blacklist. I was taken aback. Russell and I had always been regular patrons. Confused and eager to clear up this misunderstanding, I requested to speak with the manager. To our astonishment, the manager emerged, revealing herself to be none other than Doris. During the months we hadn't seen her, she had taken on a new role. Managing this very restaurant, Applebee's, our favorite spot, it felt too calculated to be a mere coincidence, and a wave of shock and disbelief washed over me at her pettiness. Well, what do we have here? I never thought I'd see the day when you two would show up at my restaurant. Doris greeted us, not missing a beat as she informed us that we were not welcome. Russell's frustration bubbled over, and he began to raise his voice, drawing the attention of other diners. I felt torn, wanting to support him while also trying to prevent the situation from escalating further. Doris, we didn't come here to cause trouble. We just wanted to enjoy a peaceful dinner. I tried to reason with her. We just want a peaceful dinner. A peaceful dinner with the likes of you? I don't think so. It's quite amusing to see you both here, practically begging to be let in after everything that's happened, Doris retorted smugly. What are you talking about, Mom? We've always loved this place. Now you're saying we're not welcome. Russell asked, incredulous. It's quite simple. When he chose to marry her against my wishes, I had to make a decision. I couldn't allow my son to make such a dreadful mistake, so I decided to protect my business from your poor choices, Doris explained coldly. You're sick, Mom. It's disgusting that you're doing this on purpose just to spite us, Russell accused, his voice filled with dismay. Oh please, Russell. I'm just looking out for my reputation. I can't have people like you associating with my business. Doris dismissed him. This is ridiculous. Mom, you're choosing your bigotry over your son. I thought you were better than this, Russell lamented, hurt evident in his voice. You're the one who chose this path. Don't blame me for the decisions you've made, Doris shot back sharply. As she spoke, all eyes in the restaurant were fixed on us, casting an uncomfortable spotlight on the confrontation. It was deeply embarrassing to be escorted out of Applebee's, a place we had once enjoyed so freely. Let's just leave. Arguing won't change her mind, I suggested quietly, eager to escape the escalating tension. You're right, Janice. It's not worth it, Russell replied, disappointment etched on his face. And don't come back. No one wants you here, Doris called after us, her voice dripping with disdain. Once outside, we wandered aimlessly down the street. Russell was clearly upset, so I encouraged him to open up about his feelings, especially regarding Applebee's. Let it all out, Russell. How are you really feeling? I know this place meant more to you than just a restaurant. Applebee's was where my dad and I bonded. We'd sit by the window, order our favorite meals, and just talk for hours about everything. It's where we connected, he explained, his voice heavy with loss. That sounds so meaningful, and I can't believe Doris would use it to hurt you like this. Especially knowing how much those moments with your dad meant to you. It's just so unfair. She knows how special Applebee's is to me, and yet she chose to use it against us just because she doesn't approve of our marriage. You deserve so much better than this, Russell. I wish I could fix this. It's awful to see someone trying to dismantle what we have. I always thought family was meant to support each other, not tear one another apart, Russell said, frustration etched on his face. It's tough to make sense of why she acts this way, but sometimes people let their biases get the best of them. We might not be able to change that, but we can choose how we respond. I reassured him. You're right. I'm done letting her negativity affect us. What matters is that we have each other. Exactly. We'll face this together. And actually, I have some news that might brighten your day a bit, I said, trying to shift the mood. What's that? He asked, curiosity piqued despite the somber atmosphere. Well, it turns out my dad recently acquired the entire block of buildings on this street, including Applebee's, I revealed. Really? Why didn't you mention this before? It just happened. He finalized the deal with the investors recently, and I was still grappling with how everything would unfold. I had planned to share the news during a celebratory dinner at the restaurant. That's incredible, Janice. I need to congratulate him later, Russell said, genuinely impressed. We can do that later, but right now we need to address your mom, I replied, steering the conversation back to the pressing issue. My dad is quite formidable in business matters, and he won't take kindly to how Doris treated us. He's going to handle this situation. Feeling a mix of urgency and determination, I decided to call my dad and put him on speakerphone so Russell could listen in. I explained everything that had transpired at Applebee's. My dad was upset by the news. I knew Doris wasn't fond of you, but to kick you out of a restaurant, that's a new low. I'm sorry I hadn't reviewed the documents sooner. I only just received the title deeds for this property and hadn't had the chance to evaluate all the managers yet. But rest assured, I'll take care of this immediately. Don't worry at all. Give me 20 minutes and I'll be there to sort this out personally, he assured us. Hearing my dad's determined words brought me a sense of relief, though it was tinged with concern about what might unfold next. I knew my dad was more than capable of handling the situation, but I hoped it wouldn't escalate into something messier. He wasn't someone to be trifled with, especially in business, and he firmly believed in treating customers with fairness and compassion. So Russell and I waited nervously outside Applebee's, trusting that my dad would resolve the issue appropriately. We weren't exactly sure what he planned to do, but we believed in his judgment. Moments later, my dad arrived, walking with a confident stride that suggested he was ready to take on whatever needed to be done. As he entered, he called out for Doris, his voice carrying enough weight for everyone inside to hear. The tension in the restaurant was palpable as heads turned to watch the unfolding scene. Doris stepped forward, visibly annoyed by the interruption. She probably thought she could dismiss my father just as easily as she had dismissed us. But he wasn't one to be brushed aside lightly. He raised an eyebrow at her and began with a tone of faux concern. Doris, my dear, it seems you haven't been keeping up with the latest developments. Did they forget to inform you about the new owner of the 2nd Green Avenue complex? Doris appeared visibly shaken, clearly caught off guard by this unexpected turn of events. What are you talking about? Who is it? She stammered, confusion lacing her voice. My dad couldn't suppress a small knowing smile. Well, that would be me. I'm the new owner, and I must say, I've been here for less than a week and I'm already receiving troubling complaints about your management. Doris's complexion turned a shade paler as the reality of her predicament sank in. I didn't know that, she muttered, flustered. Well, perhaps if you had checked your emails or paid closer attention to what's happening around you, you might have known. But it's too late for apologies now, my dad replied with a chuckle. It was satisfying to see Doris on the receiving end of the treatment she had dished out to us. Russell, who had been quietly seething by my side, stepped forward with resolve. You had no right to treat us, or anyone, the way you did, especially Janice. We've always known you harbored ill will, but as someone in charge of a public establishment, you should have been the first to understand that discrimination based on personal prejudices is unacceptable. You've clearly violated that principle, and I don't think you're fit to manage this place. Now, desperate, Doris pleaded. Wait, I'm sorry. I pointed out to Doris, even if you didn't know he was the owner, you should have treated all customers fairly without letting your personal biases interfere. Please, let's discuss this privately. Doris attempted to salvage the situation. There's no need, my dad interjected, his voice ringing loud enough for everyone to hear. I think everyone here would be interested to know that the person managing Applebee's, who allowed her racism to interfere with her professional duties, is no longer part of the staff. The murmurs in the restaurant grew louder, fueled by the unfolding drama. Doris, utterly embarrassed, could only stand in silence as the reality of her actions sank in. Russell and I watched, relieved that justice was being served. We felt a surge of relief and triumph, finally receiving some reparation after enduring Doris's harsh treatment for so long. My dad decisively handled the situation, warning her that he would call security to escort her out if she didn't leave voluntarily. Embarrassed and on the brink of tears, Doris began her walk of shame out of the restaurant. As she made her exit, the mood in the room instantly lifted. People began to clap and cheer, celebrating her departure. A profound sense of relief washed over me. Russell and I immediately went over to my dad, giving him a big hug to thank him for his decisive intervention. "You're the best, Dad," I said with a smile. He chuckled, giving us both a reassuring pat on the back. "It was my pleasure, my dear. I couldn't stand by and watch you two suffer because of her." Dad excused himself to check on the kitchen staff and find the next in command to appoint as the acting manager in the wake of the upheaval. He returned shortly after, explaining that he had important business matters to finalize, including formally terminating Doris and organizing the paperwork for the new acting manager. "Okay, my work here is done for now. You two enjoy your meal in the house," he said, signaling for us to take a seat and relax. As we settled down at a table, a whirlwind of emotions enveloped me. I was still processing how swiftly everything had escalated. Above all, I felt incredibly grateful for my dad's support and the strength he provided during this challenging time. It was comforting to know that no matter what happened, we had someone on our side, ready to step in when needed.